Her father slid the envelope across the table like it was some kind of charity gift. "We think this is best for everyone," he said with a tight smile. "You had your fun, but our daughter deserves someone who can keep up." I didn't touch it. My wife blinked, confused. "Dad, what is this?" Her mother chimed in. "It's nothing personal, sweetheart. We just think it's time you grew out of the fairy tale." "Hi, my name is Ethan. I've been married to Lena for 3 years, and she's always believed I was just a quiet guy with a modest tech job who liked cheap coffee and lived simply. What she didn't know, I was the silent co-founder of the very company her father worked at as an executive, and that every decision he'd made over the last 5 years had passed through my hands first. This dinner, I'd requested it. This table, I'd chosen it. This envelope, I'd been expecting it. I opened it. Inside, a check. $500,000 to leave Lena. I looked up slowly. Her parents were watching me, already planning their future as if I were some forgettable footnote. I folded the check, tucked it back into the envelope, and slid it back across the table. Unopened. Lena stared at me, then at her parents. "What the hell is this?" Her father didn't blink. "Security, sweetheart. This man isn't your future. He's just a phase." My wife looked like she'd been slapped. I stayed calm. I wanted to see their true faces. No filter, no restraint. And tonight, they'd shown them. "Take the check," her mother said, turning to me. "Start fresh. We'll even help you move." I let out a quiet breath, almost a laugh. "You think I married Lena for money?" I asked. Her father leaned forward. "I think people like you, who come from nothing, always find their way to women like my daughter. People like me." I smiled and turned to Lena. "I didn't want to tell you like this," I said gently. "I never cared about impressing them. I just wanted you to love me as I am." "What are you talking about?" she asked. I pulled a business card from my coat and slid it across the table. Her father's eyes twitched when he saw the logo. "Our company." I nodded once. "I own 49% of it, before you were even made an executive." And suddenly, the room went ice cold. The silence that followed felt surgical. Lena looked at me like she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Her father went pale as chalk. "You're lying," he muttered. I raised an eyebrow. "Should I recite the founding documents to you, or remind you who approved your last bonus package?" His lips parted, but no words came out. My wife picked up the card, turning it over in disbelief. "Wait, 49%? Her mother laughed nervously. "That's impossible. You're a... what? A barista? A nobody." "That's what you saw," I said calmly, "because I let you see it." I turned back to Lena. I stayed quiet because I wanted one part of my life that wasn't shaped by influence, money, or people who think love comes with an invoice. Her father finally found his voice. "If that's true, why did you even come here tonight?" I looked him dead in the eye. "To see who you are when you think I'm beneath you." He stood, fists clenched. "You humiliated us." "No," I said, standing as well. "You did that all on your own." Then I looked at Lena. "Ready to go." We left the restaurant in silence. Lena didn't speak until we were halfway home. "You were going to keep this from me forever?" I looked at her. "No, but I didn't want to tell you over dinner, while your father tried to buy me off like a seasonal intern." She looked away. "I don't know what to feel." "Start with the truth," I said. "You married a man who builds quietly and doesn't need to flash money to prove his worth." She was silent for a long time. Then, quietly, "You let me think we had problems."
Her father finally found his voice. "If that's true, why did you even come here tonight?" I looked him dead in the eye. "To see who you are when you think I'm beneath you." He stood, fists clenched. "You humiliated us." "No," I said, standing as well. "You did that all on your own." Then I looked at Lena. "Ready to go." We left the restaurant in silence. Lena didn't speak until we were halfway home. "You were going to keep this from me forever?" I looked at her. "No, but I didn't want to tell you over dinner, while your father tried to buy me off like a seasonal intern." She looked away. "I don't know what to feel." "Start with the truth," I said. "You married a man who builds quietly and doesn't need to flash money to prove his worth." She was silent for a long time, then quietly, "You let me think we had problems." "We didn't," I said. "I just wanted a real relationship, not a performance." Later that night, her father called twice. I let both calls go to voicemail. Then came an email, one line, "We need to talk. This concerns the board." There it was. He'd finally connected the dots, because I wasn't just a co-owner of the company. I also held the patent on the software that had made its billion-dollar valuation possible in the first place. And unlike his inflated titles, my name was actually on the documents. They'd tried to erase me with a check. Now they were learning, power isn't always loud until it speaks. The next board meeting was set for Thursday. I didn't confirm. Instead, I showed up early, not in a suit, but in the same gray sweater they'd always mocked whenever I picked Lena up. I wanted them to recognize me not as a stranger, but as the man they'd dismissed. The moment I walked into the glass conference room, the silence hit like a pressure drop. Her father sat at the head of the table, already pale. Two board members whispered to each other. A man from legal looked like he'd eaten something rotten.
I took the open seat at the end. They waited for me to speak. I didn't. Instead, I opened my folder and set a single sheet in front of me. The original founders' agreement, signed by me, countersigned by the investors. The document that confirmed not just my 49% stake, but also the vesting clause her father had forgotten about. The meeting began. I let them run through their routine. Then, right as the vote on a major acquisition started, I calmly raised my hand. Veto! The room froze. I leaned back. Should we talk now? Her father's voice was tense. Ethan, this acquisition is strategic. We've already announced it. You announced it, I corrected, without consulting a co-founder, without a board vote, and definitely without reviewing Clause 17.3. The legal counsel shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He knew I was right. A board member leaned forward. That puts us in conflict with our disclosure obligations to investors. I didn't smile. I'm not here for revenge, I said. I'm here to remind you that the man you tried to pay off was the same one who protected this company's infrastructure back when you didn't even know what two-factor authentication was. I paused. I'm not trying to sink the ship, I'm trying to steer it. Her father clenched his fists. You're making this personal? No, I answered. You did that. The silence held until a younger board member finally said, maybe it's time we stop seeing Ethan as a threat and start recognizing him as a partner. I stood. Good, I said, because starting tomorrow, I'm not just your silent partner anymore. I'm stepping into the light. The press release went out Monday morning at 9 a.m. Ethan Voss named co-CEO of Linhard Global following a strategic board restructuring. Within minutes, messages poured in. Former colleagues, old college friends, even two of Lena's cousins who used to joke that I'd married up. Now it was different. I wasn't just the husband. I was the man steering the company. They'd all assumed I had no place. I walked into headquarters without a badge. The receptionist stood up when she saw me step into the executive elevator. Her father was already there, alone. We didn't say a word for 5 floors. Then he said, "You think you won?" I looked straight ahead. This was never a game. He scoffed. "You humiliated me." I turned to him calmly. "No, you did that the moment you mistook quiet for weak." The doors opened. I stepped out first. That day, I made 2 big decisions. First, I rehired the junior developer team he'd laid off the previous quarter. Second, I moved him into an advisory role. No voting rights. He didn't protest. He knew. The man he'd dismissed at dinner was now the one deciding where he parked. Lena met me on the rooftop that evening. "You really were never going to tell me?" she asked quietly. I stood beside her. "Not until I was sure you loved me for the man, not the name." She nodded slowly. And now? Now the name belongs to you too, but the reason it means anything, that's still you." She pulled out the envelope, crumpled, unopened. "I never opened it," she said. I took it, looked at the offer meant to erase me, then I tore it in half. "Not for drama, because it had never mattered. I'm sorry they saw you like that," she whispered. I looked at her. "They only saw what I let them see." She smiled and stilled the quiet one. I shook my head. "Not anymore." Behind us, the lights of our company glowed in the glass of the high-rises. No longer just his, no longer hidden. I never needed to be loud to arrive. I just waited until the silence was mine to break.